Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Now, as some of you may know, we live in the East Texas area, and we got some pretty bad storms over the weekend. We were supposed to get storms. We were supposed to get storms Friday and Sunday, but the storms sort of passed us on Sunday. We didn't quite get them as bad as we thought we were going to get them. We did still get some rain, but on Friday we got hail. We were not in a tornado warning, but we had tornadoes happening around us, and we had very, very high winds. But these were not the worst of our concerns. We had a very large amount of rain, and that was one of the biggest problems that we had during the storm because it was so much rain that it caused most of our property to flood. Now, as you can see now, like in the chicken coop, it's just muddy now. Most of the water is gone other than like lots of mud, puddles, stuff like that. But it was in our chicken coops and in our garden, very, very high considerably. Now in this garden, as you can see, because these are in beds, I think that it saved the crops in these beds. They all still look okay. The wind bent over some of them, but usually that's not a problem unless your stems snap off, which they did not. The chicken coop was full of water almost up to the door. Luckily, the water did not get in, so it didn't need to be cleaned out. But all the chickens were not in there during the storm. They were under our house. So that's where they were hiding during the storm. And our house is on one of the higher parts of the property, so the water did not come up to there. And then we have a brooder over here. So this is our brooder where we keep, we currently have 9 chicks, a broody hen, and 2 teenage ducklings or teenage ducks. And then on the other side, inside the brooder where they can't come out, we have 5 ducklings and 5 turkey chicks that we just recently got. So the water in here was almost up to the door as well. So I would say it was probably a good 2.5 feet off the ground. As you can see, it's still very, very muddy in here. Eventually, we will have to get around to mulching this, but because we're doing a lot of cleanup, we haven't been able to get to that right now. So luckily, all the chickens survived. They went inside. I guess the broody hen took all the chicks inside. She was smart enough to do that. There she is now. And all the chicks were inside. And if we hadn't been so worried about trying to figure out how we were going to get them out, if the water kept rising, I would have taken a video of the 2 teenage ducks swimming around in the water. So they were outside the whole time, swimming around in water that was like up to like here. So they had a very good time doing that. So now we're going to go talk about the garden. On our way down to the garden, I just want to mention that our cow shelter all the way up there, so not that building that you see right here with the wood in the middle on top, but the building that's all metal back there is our cow shelter. And what was happening was the wind was getting underneath it and it was flapping around. And we were sure the roof was going to get torn off, but it did not, thankfully. So we're going to fix that. But now let's head down to the garden so we can talk about the flood that happened down there. Now you'll have to ignore the weeds because it's been a couple days. And if you live anywhere around here, you know that the weeds are bad. So I just want to talk about that down here. You could not even see the potato towers when the water was up here. And I'll put some pictures up on the screen so you can see how high the water actually was. Dad's potato towers are about 4 foot high, so I'd say this water had to be at least 3 or 4 foot high. But we thought all of our crops were gone. We were sure of it, that everything was going to be dead from all the water. But we were wrong. Take a look at this. Our pepper plants, there's a row of them right here. It looks like maybe we have one here that fell over. And the stem broke. But it still has leaves, so that one might even still make it. But losing a couple crops in a storm that we had was nothing. I was sure we were going to lose it all. As a matter of fact, some of the stuff even looks better than it did before the storm. You can see there is our lettuce and our tomatoes. Now, some of the tomatoes don't look too good, but they were recently transplanted. And they sort of browned after that, so they do look better than they did before with the green on top. The tomatoes that we actually planted by seed have little flower buds on them now. You can come up close if you want. Little flower buds. And you can go through our tomatoes and you can see flower buds all over the tomatoes. So I don't know, maybe the stress caused them to flower. Everything pretty much survived. We had a few onion plants that The stems flopped over a little sooner than I would have hoped they would have, so they weren't as big. But again, for the amount of water that was down here, that's not a big deal. Look at this. Squash that we just planted coming up all over. We got some squash here. We have those pinto beans that we planted coming up. The tomatoes over here made it. We have those watermelon seedlings. They came up. I would have to say that the water was up to, like, what do you think, Josh? Like here? Yeah, he said yes. So the water had to be like up to there. The blueberry bushes were almost covered. But look, they still have all their berries, or at least most of their berries, which is just amazing. Jonathan's pumpkins are still here. And if anyone's planted potatoes before, once the tubers start forming, they really can't handle a lot of water. Like, they would rot away into nothing. But it's been a couple days, and these plants are still green and growing. And these potato towers were underwater. You could not see them. And like I said, I'll leave pictures up so you guys can see what it looked like when it flooded back here. So this is where all the mulch and logs ended up that were in our garden. We used the logs as like barriers in our garden to know where stuff was planted. And then we used mulch to suppress the weeds. Well, it all ended up back here. So we're going to be digging through this pile for a while. We'll probably use a lot of this mulch to re-mulch the garden. And then we can get mulch. So that's not a big deal if we need more. And we have logs in case we need it. So, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of garden work, I foresee, in our future. Not as much work as having to replant everything, too. So we're grateful for that. I also just want to show these giant elderberry plants. Now, besides, they did take some minimal damage. Looks like this big stalk broke off of this plant, but I highly doubt that's going to kill it. These things are pretty much impossible to kill and get rid of. They have some pretty flower buds on them. Those are nice. At least I think they're flower buds. Let me know in the comments if those are flower buds. There's some more up here too. That would be nice too, because it would mean we get some fruit this year. So that's pretty much the extent of what happened here. We can only thank the Father that all of our crops were not gone. We were sitting in the house watching this water get 2 or 3, maybe even 4 feet above our crops, and we were like, they are totally gone for sure. If the crazy high winds didn't take them out, that was gonna. And as you can see, everything lived with minimal damage, it looks like. We even have stuff still sprouting. That's crazy. I was sure that they were all going to be totally gone. And all of our animals are okay. They all were able to find a safe place to go. And we took very minimal damage to our property and our house. So that's pretty much all we have to show you all. If you're not already, make sure you guys are subscribed. Leave a comment if you have any questions or thoughts. Give this video a thumbs up. And we'll see y'all soon.